oh, wow, I have to be holy. I have to read the CSB or the ESV or if I'm really holy, I got to go into the KJV. I mean, that's a language that Paul spoke after all.
Right.
But why is it that people think why do people have that mindset?
Well, I think part of it might be because they're, the NLT replaced the Living Bible, which was a paraphrase. Now,
and I can hear some people say paraphrase. Bleh.
Yeah,
and they revolt against it as if it's anathema. Oh, we're so horrible on the paraphrase.
Well, yeah, I won't use his name on air. I will tell you afterwards. I had a conversation, a really friendly conversation with one of the prominent members of the ESV, which tends to be more word for word. It's actually less word for word than some of their marketing makes it out to be. But he was saying, Tremper, we were having lunch. He goes, Tremper, I'd be fine with the NIV and NLT if they would just call themselves what they are. And I said, what's that? He goes, paraphrases. Well, I said, well, they're not paraphrases. We spent 10 years, 90 scholars in total, working very carefully with the Greek and Hebrew text. And a paraphrase is when you take one language like English, and Ken Taylor did a masterful job, taking the old American Standard Bible and rendering it into a more accessible English at a time when, in the 60s, when
you didn't do that.
What's that?
I mean, that really wasn't, a lot of people didn't do that. That was because people still were pretty married to the KJV, which is even itself. And I don't want to harp on and say one version's bad, because even the KJV, I mean, what a lasting legacy, 400 years.
Yeah.
That's incredible.
Yeah, no, it's wonderful. And it's, I think what people tend to forget reading in the 21st century is the KJV is a more thought for thought translation. And it's in the contemporary language of the day, so it's, but some people feel like the English of the Bible needs to sound kind of like the King James Version, kind of high literary style. Yeah. But the Hebrew and Greek varies, but most of it is pretty popular, common, everyday language. I mean,
of that time.
Yeah. And so the Greek, that's why we refer to it as Koine Greek. It's not literary Greek, though, some of the books are pretty complicated in Greek, but like Hebrews. But, John is pretty straightforward, everyday Greek. In terms of the Hebrew, Isaiah kind of flies to high literary heights. Job has its difficulties, partly because it uses so many rare words and it's in a kind of poetic syntax that is difficult. But, most of the prose is pretty straightforward Hebrew. So the idea that our English Bibles need to use multisyllabic technical terms in order to reflect the biblical language, I think is kind of a misunderstanding. Though I'm glad we have translations out there that use propitiation, atonement, all these technical.
No. I'm glad for those theological words.
But on the other hand, it's good that we also have translations like the NLT that'll translate to atone as to make right with, which captures the meaning.
The meaning. Well, because I notice. I mean, I'm a big advocate of trying to keep. Don't lose theological words, but explain them.
Yeah, right.
And oftentimes I don't think we do that. We throw out words and we expect people to know it. And how often do we use the word propitiation? We just don't. That's not in our modern vocabulary. But the concept and the truth of it is there. We just need to draw it out. And so that's why I'm grateful for the NLT, but I'm also grateful that you said that some keep that. And that's why I do believe that the most important one is the one you read, and you should have a variety of translations. But when I do hear that it's only for new believers, I cringe, because I've talked to several pastors and they And it's almost as if they're secretly telling me, because they're afraid of what their church members are saying. It says, well, that's what I read for my private time with the Lord. And I'm like, why are we whispering right now? I mean, what's going on here? I don't understand.
Well, we used to and this was a joke, inside joke. We used to say the NLT will be a translation that pastors will hate because it makes it so clear they don't have to explain it,